Welcome in, everybody, to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Dinger Dan Harris, and we're coming to you on a special holiday edition. That's right. Happy Memorial Day to everybody out there, and a special shout out to all of our men and women in the armed services branches and all of those who have made so many sacrifices for us and our freedoms here. We are very happy that there's a day, there's not enough days set aside to thank you for all of your heroism and all of what you've done for us here in this country. But today, we've certainly got some baseball to sit back and enjoy this day off. And we thought, we can't not be here to talk baseball on Memorial Day. It's America. And Dan Harris, I know you've had a long weekend here. You're solo dad all weekend. So we just also wanted to give you a little time to talk to another adult. And I use adult in the most air quotey, lightest terms possible when referring to myself.
I do appreciate it. Yes, shout out to all the single dads out there, especially all the single dads who live in the Arctic where it rains all weekend, because that's basically what it's been here. But I am very excited to talk to you. I left it up to you, Joe. If you wanted a show today, you absolutely came through. Probably 90% of it was to give me a break and let me talk to another adult, as you said. But yes, I will echo it, by the way. It is a holiday, of course. Everybody likes barbecues and baseball and everything like that. But of course, today is about honoring all those who have lost their lives in service of the country. So we do thank anyone who has served and everything like that. And if you're out there, just take a moment, think about that. Think about the reason that today is a holiday. And with that, let's goof off and talk about baseball.
Yes, there you go. Perfect setup. That's what we do here. All right, let's start with a little 3 up and 3 down. Giolito's changeup guides him to 12 strikeout performance. Remember a couple weeks ago when people were panicking about Giolito when he had that early morning start and then a bad start after that, and then he had a start skipped or some kind of thing moved around? Well, guess what? It's going to be fine. This guy's a strikeout machine. He's been a strikeout machine for a couple years now. In the Black Book going into this year, we had him as a top ace kind of pitcher in that realm. That guy that if you couldn't afford in an auction to get the Coles or the DeGroms, he was the next best thing in terms of strikeouts. And wouldn't you know it, he's back on track, and the White Sox continue to, be the White Sox. By the way, that South Side uni, that all-black pinstripe White Sox uniform that they were rocking on, I think it was Friday, man, that was the coolest thing ever. I love that. More of this, please. More of the cool uniforms, not just these retro throwbacks, but let's do some cool stuff there. Kevin Gossman, not cool, came out of his start on Sunday after the 6th inning due to a left hip tightness. But the reason why I put him in up is because I was doing the show yesterday, and before this start, I was just kind of looking around. It's like, well, where are things in terms of pitching? And Kevin Gossman, I just wanted to give a shout out as one of the most underrated pitchers in 2021. He is 6-0 in 11 starts with a 1.40 ERA. Get this, 70 innings, just 41 hits, 83 strikeouts, 16 walks. You look at that line, that is Jacob deGrom, Garrett Cole, Shane Bieber territory. But his name is Kevin Gossman, so although he had the injury here, I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to the dude and say, what an incredible start. And I got to tell you, I wish I had any shares. I have none. But Dan, can you believe what Kevin Gossman's been able to do and turn his career around to this extent?
Like you, I have 0 shares, and it is very frustrating. I hope he's okay with the hip. I think he's going for an MRI either today or tomorrow or something like that. But yeah, look, Gossman has always had these stretches, right? It's always been this, man, your splitter is so good. Can you just lean into that splitter and throw it all day long? Because, splitters, generally speaking, have these days where they're good, they're bad. That's why Gossman was so inconsistent. And he also didn't throw it enough. The Giants now have the voodoo magic where they take your kind of mediocre starting pitchers, they turn it all around. And this year, he has just been leaning into that splitter. It has been dominant. 136 batting average against. His fastball, 163 batting average against. He has been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. And it's backed up, okay? It's not luck. It's not like, his FIP and his XFIP and his Sierra, all that stuff, a little higher than his ERA, but for the most part, no. 081 whip. I hope he's healthy, because if so, I have him outside my top 10, but he's within the top 20 now, and he's climbing. There's really no reason to doubt him.
Dominant is the only word that I can use when referring to Gossman this year. He has been absolutely dominant, and it's the reason why the Giants are where they are so far, start the year. So hold your breath, everybody. Hope that he's okay. But I just wanted to give a shout out because I was looking through stats yesterday and went, oh my goodness, Kevin Gossman's been that good. And you don't realize, guys, when they're not on your teams, how good they've been. And we're going to talk about some of those other players too, because we're officially a third of the way through the baseball season, boys and girls. I don't know if you realize that, but we are. So that's very exciting. So we're going to kind of sit back a little bit. Instead of DFS, we're going to talk about some of the bigger picture stuff, where things are at this point in the season, because a third of the way through, we have a lot to go on, and still more baseball left than not, but still. Yep. In terms of playoffs and things like that, we're getting closer to that halfway mark for those of you playing head-to-head leagues. Also, Kansas City prospect Bobby Witt Jr., 3 home run game, not bad for him. Of course, I traded him last week, but I did get Jacob deGrom in that deal, so I'm not going to cry. It's my dynasty league, and I'm a win now team. I like to win now because flags fly forever. That's what I say. But yes, it is a great outing for him. Hopefully he continues to rise, and hopefully we'll see Bobby Witt Jr. sooner than later in the big leagues. Down, well, I think the biggest down is over the weekend. Marcell Ozuna arrested on assault and battery charges. First he dislocates the fingers, and he's home. I don't know, he's home for a couple days, whatever it is. And then this story broke on Saturday night. And I guess the question is he droppable? And I guess the answer is yes. And what a stupid idiot doing stupid things. And you know what? Good on the Braves and good on Major League Baseball being on top of this right away. And then this kind of begs the question, Dan. I wonder if this is the why again, you don't know these guys. We know them as players. But you always wonder, there's things floating around about certain guys. Is it a good guy or not a good guy? And you wonder why Marcell Ozuna kept getting 1-year deals places. And I kind of wonder if there was some smoke there before all this about this guy. Because when something like this happens, I think we all kind of sit back and go, I guess we should have seen this coming maybe. But certainly not a good scene here for him.
I mean, I have no idea what has been in the past or what hasn't been in the past. And it's abhorrent from a fantasy standpoint, which obviously is our job. He is absolutely droppable in a redraft league. I will be completely shocked if he plays again this year. I think his career is going to be in jeopardy. The difference that I will say here, again, we're analyzing it from a fantasy standpoint. That's why we're talking about it. Is there are a lot of times you have these things, they sound terrible, and then the person recants or there comes to an agreement. This was actually witnessed by police. Like, this was something that happened in front of officers. There's no recanting in this thing. This is what happened. So I think Ozuna, his career may be in jeopardy from this. And so from a fantasy standpoint, in a dynasty league, also, I would be looking to rid my hands. But in a redraft league, absolutely cuttable. Move on. I can't imagine he plays again this year.
Go pick up Ty France off the waiver wire. Go pick up, guys. There's plenty of players out there that you could fill in with. This guy's kind of hurt the Braves, though, too, in the big picture, because losing him in the middle of that order as a presence certainly is going to hurt them. Guillermo Heredia is not exactly Marcell Ozuna statistically. And, the rest of the guys out there, the Christian Paches, guys like that, those are more defensive-minded guys, not necessarily offensive-minded. So you still got Freeman, you still got Acuna and Albies. Austin Riley now, I think his emergence is looming even larger for the Atlanta Braves now. And, I think he has to maintain now in order for the Braves to keep on this run that we think they're capable of going into the playoffs and being good again. The Rockies placed Trevor Story on the 10-day IL due to right elbow inflammation. That is not good. That's terrible, because the guy has had a rough season. Then he started to show some signs, and now he's on the IL. As Dan, eye roll from Dan Harris on this. A little worried about the story here. This is not a good story.
I just feel like that's always how it happens, right? You're like, okay, you got off to the bad start. We know it's going to turn around because he's a guy like Trevor Story. And then right as you feel like it's about to happen, then you get an injury. And again, they deemed it precautionary with his elbow, but he's also going for further testing today and tomorrow. I don't know. That Rockies team, by the way, there is no better matchup than the Rockies on the road for a starting pitcher. I'm trying to think of the caliber of pitcher who I would not stream against the Rockies on the road right now, especially without Story. Just do that. Take it to their home this week, but look down the road, be like, who will be starting against the Rockies? Just pick them all up. You'll have basically the equivalent of Jacob deGrom.
There's a lot of swing and miss in that line. That's
no good.
Speaking of swinging and missing, Alec Boehm. Boehm's going to have to take his ball and go home pretty soon. 1 for 11 over the weekend, 205 slash. 244, 305. That's what the slash looks like right now. And I said it last week on the show. I'm going to say it again this week. Please, Philadelphia Phillies, send this kid down to AAA. AAA is going now. Send him down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. Get him right. And then bring him back up. It's fine. This happens all the time. Great players will do this, and I think Boehm has the potential to be a great player. So I am not worried about this, and I'm buying everywhere in Dynasty you possibly can. Buy.
Okay, in Dynasty, fine. Totally fine with it because no, I agree. And 3 weeks ago, I not only recommended buying low on the kid, I did buy low on the kid. So like I usually put my money where my mouth is, and it has been dreadful. And I watch his at bats because again, I don't know about you, Joe, but I feel like when I make a strong recommendation or anything on the podcast or anything like that, I want to basically like follow that player, let's see how it's going. And it is not going well. He looks just completely lost right now. He's swinging at balls out of the strike zone. He's taking balls in the strike zone. And again, that's not his game. Okay. You hit it on the ground, fine, but you're supposed to walk, not strike out that much. He's totally lost. I agree with you. I think it's a very good idea because this is not suddenly somebody who has lost all skills. He's just in a funk. He can't get out of it right now. And there's a lot of pressure on him. They moved him down the lineup, but still that lineup is not hitting. There's no Harper. Sending him to AAA, Joe, I think it's a good idea, actually. So I would co-sign that one.
Yeah, just get out of Dodge, man.
Yeah.
Go clear your mind, go back to, where you could just work and not worry about things and not worry about the crowd reactions and all that stuff. It's just not a new pattern, man. And it's something that's going on for a long time. Now, another guy that's getting a lot of buzz, and I see it here for the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. I saw it all weekend at Twitter, people asking me about dropping Kelenic. And Jared Kelenic certainly came up, and I looked really good right away. Jared Kelenic's going to hit eventually. This is what happens. If you don't have the patience for these guys, then you have to listen to me when I tell you things like trade them as soon as they get called up. You know why? Because just like a player returning from injury, their value is at peak. The value of what could be as opposed to what's going to be is always worth cashing in on. And people are afraid to do it because they don't want to, and they don't want to miss out on the next Fernando Tatis Jr., the next Vlad Guerrero Jr., or some other junior. I get it. I understand. I guess all I can say to people is you have to kind of understand this is the pattern. And I don't know why everyone's in, I get it in keeper leagues and dynasties. You don't want to give these guys up. That's fine, of course. But in redraft leagues, the people, I'll never forget this offseason, I had an interesting show that I hosted for Mason's charity event. And it was a panel for prospects. It was Eric Cross and a lot of great people. And every single one of those people who are the prospect gurus in fantasy baseball, all of them said, oh yeah, I don't like to draft prospects and rookies in my redraft leagues. And it was a kind of stunning moment there. I was listening to these folks talk about this. And this is the reason why. They all said to every single one of them, to a man and to a woman, the volatility is just too much sometimes on your roster. And you know what? I agree. And yet people still don't trade them. So what are your thoughts on Kelenic? You're not dropping him, are you? Are you staying true? What's happening?
No, I'm not dropping him. I mean, look, how many plate appearances? 71 plate appearances. Okay. I mean, come on. Chill out. Everybody chill out. Okay? Look, this is what it is, though, but you are correct. And I am not a big stash the prospect guy because I worry about it. Also, there was some guy when Kelenic got called up that was killing us, Joe, because we were basically like, okay, this is great. Adam, he's going to be good. But like we were comparing him. This guy was like, I'd take him trade JD Martinez for us, like yelling at us. I have not seen that guy in the comments anymore anyway from our YouTube show. But regardless, where are you? Where
are you in there? I don't see you anymore.
People are asking in the comments, for example, in a 10-team league. In a 10-team league, like if you want to move on, I'm fine with it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But have some patience with the kid. Like relax. He is uber talented. He's going to provide power. He's going to provide speed. So just relax. But you are correct. This is kind of the ups and downs of the rookies. Some of them come up and they're, Alvarez, and they just go from the word go. Everybody remembers though, Mike Trout struggled when he first came up. Like this is just what happens. Pump the brakes. I would hold in anything, certainly 12 teams or larger.
Nolan Ryan got sent down. For God's sakes. I mean,
come
on. Let's go.
Out.
In a 10-team league, that's a very different story.
Right.
Everybody's droppable. I'm droppable.
Correct.
Well, not me. I'm not droppable in a 10-team league.
Obviously.
Maybe you are.
Yes.
But you can't. Look, that's different. The replacement value is much higher. The competitive level is much different of a pool. So you have to change your mindset there. But you're a 12-team mixer. You're crazy. If anything, go buy on the cheap right now because that person's very frustrated as I almost knock my camera over here.
I was like, what was that? Was that
it's my big Italian gestures. I can't help that. Sometimes I go, oh, and I just knock things over. All right. Speaking of Italian, by the way, in case you missed it, just did a little fantasy feud on the football side. Dan Harris hosting. Phenomenal job hosting. It's so nice to hear Dan back and so nice to see Dan back hosting a football show. And he made me the underdog as the Italian, and let's just say it worked out pretty well. I was going to say,
it was an impressive performance.
I should have won by more, actually, when you think about it.
You were pretty dominant in that game. It was
a dominant performance.
Exceptional. I agree.
So if you're bored this weekend, you want to watch or listen to some fun, go check that out.
It's just fun. The NFL podcast, FantasyPros NFL podcast. It was actually a really fun episode, and Joe was impressive. If you want to see Joe kick some butt, go listen and or watch on the youtube.com/FantasyPros channel.
Youth and skill is no match for old age and treachery.
That's true.
That's it. All right. Let's talk about some aces. Lucas Giolito, we were talking about his 12 Ks. How about Brandon Woodruff, 10 of his own against the Nats, 7 shutout innings. My boy Freddie Peralta, love them 7-inning complete games. Ooh-wee, I love that. It's my favorite. The Nats had a rough weekend there with Woodruff
they did.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's why I love the Brewers. It's like, you get that pitching in a short series. Oh,
right?
Look out.
Those 3 guys now, because of Peralta, they've got as good a 3.
Is there a better 3 in baseball? I don't know.
Maybe the Dodgers, is what I was thinking about it, maybe, but that's really it.
No, the Dodgers are probably 4 deep when you
right. If we're just talking the top 3, that's the thing. You're like, man, just the 3? I don't know.
Garrett Cole, 6 innings, 5 Ks against the Tigres. His ERA is under 2. Lance Lynn had 5 shutout innings of his own against the Orioles. Zach Wheeler, 14 Ks. I saw that line come across and I went, Zach Wheeler, 14 Ks. What is going on with Zach Wheeler? Again, another guy I have 0 shares of, and I kind of wish I did. Him and Gossman. Could you imagine that rotation? You got Wheeler and Gossman for what? I don't know. The pennies on the dollar compared to some other pitchers.
Wheeler has 3 straight games with double-digit strikeouts at this point, and it's really he hasn't done anything drastically different. Remember last year, right? The strikeouts disappeared for some reason. He was inducing a lot of weak contact. He just basically went back to pinpointing his fastball, which is as good as ever, leaning into the slider a little bit more as opposed to the sinker to get weak contact. He's going for the strikeouts, and his control is great. This is awesome. This is the best, the absolute top version of Zach Wheeler that we ever could have expected, which is great.
Take that, Brody Van Wagenen. Is there a more country club sounding name than Brody Van Wagenen? By the way,
if there is, I don't know it. It's true.
I don't want to know it. Kevin Gossman, we talked about him. He did leave that start, but before he did, 6 shutout innings against the Dodgers, 7 Ks. And the Dodgers are sputtering a little with the Mookie Betts stuff, and they sat him a night, and then they had the allergic reaction to something. I don't know, man. It's I don't know what's going on with Mookie, but
that division race is going to be something fun to watch. Because you need the wild card. The wild card. That's true. That'd be fun. The wild card obviously is a huge deal. Yeah. So the fact that they all need to kill each other to try to get that division crown is going to be fun to watch all year.
Tyler Mahle, also fun to watch. 5 shutout innings, 8 Ks for him. You're always going to see 5 innings from Tyler Mahle. It's just what you're going to see this year. Maybe the next year it's better, but you take the 8 Ks, and the ERA is at 3.42. But I'm telling you, here's the thing. You have to understand it's the limited, 5-inning starts that are always going to make the ERA a little higher than you realize, and that it should be maybe because, this is what happens with these certain pitchers when they have the limitations on them. But he is a good pitcher. Also, Kikuchi's been pretty solid this year as well. 5 Ks against the Rangers, and Alzolay 5 2/3. 6 Ks against the Reds. Some big sluggers of the weekend. We had Jose Abreu 5 for 9 with a home run. Marcus Semien, who's been red hot over his last 20 games. His OPS is well above 1,000. The guy's been brilliant. So good on everybody who bought on Marcus Semien early when he struggled over his first 20 games, because the last 20 has been brilliant. Tommy Pham, 5 for 14. Signs of life from Tommy Pham with a homer. Austin Meadows reaches base on 7 of 8 plate appearances with a home run. Max Muncy, another good week for him. 2 homers over the weekend. And Evan Longoria continues to be pretty good. So, as long as he keeps hitting and as long as this Giants pitching stays somewhere there. Now, Desclafani's had a rough couple weeks. Yeah. But the rest of those guys, if they can just kind of just stay here and competitive, I don't care if they make the playoffs or not. I just want them to be annoying enough and just kind of stick it to the Dodgers and stick it to the Padres a little bit, because it's fun.
It's hard to see them staying as competitive as they are. But again, it's funny because I read some article somewhere, I can't remember where, so sorry to whoever the author was, but about how the front office took over and they were like, we've got to get the Giants young and competitive. And instead they got them old and competitive. It's all about Longoria and Buster Posey and everything like that. But the pitching, Posey's been great and Longoria has been really good. but it's really all about the pitching. The one guy I want to mention there, by the way, is Muncy, because I feel like I caught a lot of flack. When I rank guys, Joe, I take position eligibility into account a ton, right? So a guy like Muncy, especially this year, as we've seen, the ability to switch, between various positions is really valuable. So I always had him high. People were like, Muncy doesn't really do anything. He's having a great season so far, 281. His OBP is 442, and he's got 13 homers. 442, guys. If you play in an OBP league like I did, I play in the Nerf league, the New England version of the Barf league that Justin Mason started. And I've got, guys who take these huge jumps in OBP. Aaron Judge, Max Muncy. Look at your format. If you play in any league that sort of either points or takes into account OBP, you got to focus on guys like that. Muncy is awesome. It's good to see him bouncing back a little bit.
This is a great question here from the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. I got to throw this one up here.
Go ahead.
Bellinger or Yelich rest of the season from Dylan. I'm going to go with Bellinger here.
Yep.
But I understand the pause. I get it. And I get the question because I think it's a very relevant one. Do you have any feelings on this? Is just Bellinger easy for you too? I didn't hesitate either, but I kind of wonder, should I have hesitated? I don't know.
No. No,
Okay.
I'm Bellinger for sure. Now that he's back, for sure, because it doesn't seem like there should be limitations from his injury. It was a hairline fracture, but presumably it's completely healed at this point. Yelich, maybe this is something where they're easing him in because of his back and they don't want to overdo it. And then eventually they'll let loose. And if so, it's really, really close. But for now, given that he sits every couple of days and they take it easy with him, it's Bellinger. And I'm not really all that close for me.
All right, I saw somebody in the chat say Blake Snell was dropped in their league. I can only assume this is like a 10-team league, and I get his ERA is at 5.5. I don't know what to say here, Bob, about Blake Snell, because this is a guy that I was not on, and I haven't been on for many years, and I got burned one year about it, and I just had to, take it like a man and be like, okay, well, so be it. I was wrong about Blake Snell, but Blake Snell right now in the National League, what's going on here? You think it's an injury, or is it mechanical? What's happening? Everybody else is great in San Diego except this guy.
Well, with the understanding that it may be mechanical, because there may be something, but it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, really, realistically,
you don't get analysis like that anywhere else. Why has he got a 5 ERA?
It's a 6, really, almost. I don't see anything basically that is affecting it necessarily. I mean, he's never been a guy who lives in the strike zone. A lot of it is getting whiffs and people chasing balls out of the strike zone. And for whatever reason, maybe everybody just finally said, you know what, he's probably not going to throw in the strike zone very much. Let's just lay off it. But nothing looks crazy different. If you want reasons for optimism, he's got a 356 xFIP, right? xFIP is usually closer to how you're actually performing. But I don't know if that's a 10-team league where he's been dropped. I've seen him dropped in at 12. People are just frustrated. They didn't like you. They didn't want to buy in. And now they're like, why am I sitting with a guy? I can't afford to sit with a guy who is healthy, who I can't throw out there anymore, who almost never throws 6 innings, even on a good day anyway. So look, I'm holding because the upside is way too high. But for right now, you can't start him in a league. You just can't, because he's walking 6 batters per 9 at this point. So just hold. Hopefully he figures it out.
It's a bad scene, that's for sure. Also we got a good one here from the notorious RBG. Where is it? Where'd you go? I just had you up there. I don't know. I think it's actually the inverse, but he said Blake Snell is the new Chris Paddock. I thought this was very funny, and I feel like Chris Paddock might be the new Blake Snell.
I mean, he's striking out a ton of guys. That is the one thing. I mean, he's striking out more than 13 batters per 9 innings, 32% strikeout rate. So that is still there.
What's the FIP on Blake Snell? That is the question.
The xFIP is the only thing that's good for Blake. So everything is better than his ERA, right? His ERA is 5.55. His xERA, that's based on quality of contact, 4.92. So still bad, but not as bad. Good. His FIP is 4.39. So also significantly better. And his xFIP is 3.56. But again, really, Joe, I mean, it's a 14.2.
xFIP is 3.56, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to buy. I go pick them up.
The big thing, though, Joe, no matter what, you cannot survive with a 14.2% walk rate. Like Blake Snell, you live around 9% when you're right. You live around a 9% walk rate. You can't live with a 14% walk. You just can't. Like, there's just no way. That's why your whip is 160.
You can't live like this.
You cannot live like that.
Animals with this sort
and
of
I don't.
walk rate.
I mean, the thing is, right? You can't analyze him like a normal pitcher, because a normal pitcher would be like, well, goodness, He's lost some command. Must be some sort of mechanical issue, because a guy like that, he never throws in the strike zone. That's not Blake Snell's deal. So I don't have it yet, Joe. I don't have the what is eating Blake Snell. I don't have it yet.
I don't know. I love.
I'm
that
not
movie,
dropping.
by the
I'm
way.
not dropping.
So good.
Sure.
Johnny Depp as Blake Snell was so good in that movie.
What
is eating Blake? You know, maybe it's just adjustment. West Coast, different vibe.
Could be. Oh, I don't remember if we talked about it, Joe, or if I talked about it on a different podcast before the season, but it was sort of I get a little nervous about
other podcasts.
It's true.
My God,
I think it might have been before you came on board. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
We got together.
About guys changing teams and how it's a variable that we don't know how it's going to affect. They live in a certain spot. They have to uproot their entire lives. They move over. You know, we talked about a little bit with Darvish as well, where maybe that could, some guys it doesn't bother, but some guys it has an impact on. Maybe that's it. But I just don't know basically what it is. I will make this promise to our listeners. I'm going to do a little digging after this podcast. We'll dig into it. We touch base first thing tomorrow's podcast. I will say what's the deal? What's the deal with Blake Snell? And then we'll say,
I don't know if the XFIP is in the threes. I'm buying.
You're just in there. Okay,
I'm just gonna do it. I mean, I'm the most anti Blake Snell guy. I can't stand the dude personally.
Yeah,
I don't care for his game, but at a certain point, I had to respect what he's brought, and that's what it is. Now, if you want to up your game, make sure you go to manscaped.com and get that Lawnmower 4.0. I finally unboxed mine. I should have had like a big YouTube thing to unbox my Lawnmower 4.0. It's been sitting there because I had the 3.0 already, and I didn't want them to all get jealous, in the same bathroom. Everyone gets weird about stuff, but the new holder is very cool. I gotta say, they definitely upgraded that. You can tell like the new guards are very cool, and I gotta tell you, Dan, that hot foil black stamped logo looks pretty good.
Yep.
And not only that, it's got the advanced skin safe technology, the 4K LED light, the longer battery life, everything you need. So go to manscaped.com, get that Lawnmower 4.0, get 20% off and free shipping with that code leading off. Again, that code is leading off, manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. All right, let's do a little fun thing here. A little fun. I want to go through because when you start to look now 2 months into the season, we're a third of the way through. Some things that really kind of surprised me. Here's a one or two on the pitching end here. If I told you this player has had 9 starts this year, he's got a 1.84 ERA. He's got 49 Ks in 49 innings. He's got a .94 whip. You'd say this is a player you want, right? He's 4-1 on the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that player is Taijuan Walker. And he is in the top 6 right now in terms of Major League Baseball ERA. And I just thought that was kind of a stunning thing to sit back there. And one of these guys that maybe has slipped through the cracks. Last year had a good season and everyone just kind of, I guess, didn't notice or didn't care or wasn't believing or whatever it is, but it's carried over. There's some imperfections there. The walk rate is still a little on the higher side. Yeah. But still, Taijuan Walker has been very good. He's been a savior at times, I feel, for that Mets rotation. And then when you start to look at some other pitching stats and some guys are really surprising. Obviously, Zach Wheeler being top 5 in strikeouts is surprising. But I want to give a moment, too, to talk about Freddie Peralta, if we can, who is 5-1 in his 10 starts. He's got 83 strikeouts in 56 innings. And you want to know how many hits Freddie Peralta's given up? Take a guess. 56 innings, how many hits Freddie Peralta's given up?
52.
No, way less.
40.
28.
Oh!
28. And that tells you one thing.
To make it, Joe, by the way, that's showmanship. That's like me making a guess that's super off high so that you can come in super low, but it's fine.
See, that's really good. No, you're a professional. No one ever thought you anything less than a professional.
Yeah, thanks.
This is another stat that jumped out at me. Freddie Peralta is, once again, dominant here. The whip is .92. The question is, and this is a real important question, because he is as good as it gets. In your redraft leagues, are you selling Freddie Peralta at this price, or are you just going to ride the wave until it crashes? Because I don't know what it looks like when we get to 125 innings. I'm not sure.
So I have him ranked as my 25th starting pitcher going forward. So I feel like that's pretty much a buy. And I'm not as worried about the innings because the biggest thing is just that he is no longer a one-pitch pitcher. That one pitch being his fastball, which has always been good. He's basically become a 2-pitch pitcher, which again, as a starter, not usually a recipe for success. You need at least that third pitch to kind of show. And he's got the changeup, maybe the curve. but it's the slider, man. The slider that he introduced. So his fastball's always good, 139 batting average against. Slider, 147 batting average against. So with those two, he throws hard, good spin rate on both those pitches. I'm buying, dude. I realize that the innings are going to be a little bit of uncharted territory, but I am buying. He's my 25th, which I feel like is appropriate.
That's the top end of number 3 starter, right?
Yeah,
in terms of
exactly
rankings,
right. Borderline number 2. Yeah,
but he's pitching like a 1.
Yes, he is pitching like a 1, which that sort of walks the line, right? That's sort of I buy into it, but I'm not like, okay, wow, this is the guy who's like leading my fantasy rotation for the rest of the season.
2 guys on the offensive side have stuck out to me so far in this 2 months of the season. Like I said, third of the way through. Jesse Winker, the 13 home runs, 348 batting average, 411 OBP, 635 slugging, 1046 OPS. Jesse Winker is elite right now. And if he can continue anything close to this, next year he's going to be thought of as close to an elite player. I can tell you that. And the other one is your boy, Austin Riley, who people might not realize. He is top 10 in baseball in OPS. And I know you love Austin Riley, but I don't know if you knew that. He has got 10 home runs, 22 RBI. He's got 8 doubles. He has got a 313 batting average, a 409 OBP, and a 546 slugging. And again, 955. That's good for 10th overall in OPS. Now, as much as we like Austin Riley, that's something that I didn't realize he was that high up the trough in terms of OPS. And that is pretty stunning when you consider it's near 1,000, because this is, like I said, 2/3 of the way through the year.
Yeah, he kind of he's not identical to what he was doing last year, which was really encouraging, right? Because he used to be like, are you going to strike out 37% of the time? Because if so, we're not going to be able to live with you. Okay, we need to move on. You're going to bat 220, and that's really what happened in his rookie year. But then he cut the strikeout rate down to like 24%. He upped his walk rate to almost 8%. His strikeout rate has jumped a little bit to 28, but he's walking 11.5% of the time, dude. He's just got a very good, he's still going to have some swing and miss in his game. The power, remember, he had like 3 home runs through the first month or a little more, but he's got so much power that eventually, again, I made it like a golf shot. Your golf shot, when it goes to heck, I remember working on it and being like, okay, I can hit it straight, but I lost so much distance. And they were like, the distance will come, get it straight, get your swing worked out and stuff like that. And eventually it does. That's kind of what's happening with Riley. He is an absolute stud. I probably have him too low in my rest of season rankings. I probably need to move him up because there's really nothing left to doubt at this point.
Well, we appreciate everybody taking this first third of the season journey along with us here at Fantasy Pros, and want to remind you to subscribe to not only the podcast, but leave a review. And when you do leave a review on Apple Podcasts or CastBox for us, not only will we probably read it on the show, but you get a chance to go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. And thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction, this is it. This is the last day today to get involved in the Vlad Guerrero Jr. Baseball. If you get involved with this one, then you're also, obviously, once you're entered to win in June and July and all the way the rest through the year. But please go there right now. Do it right after the show is over, because it's going to be over in a second. And get involved. This is your last shot at the Vladdy Ball, which I don't know if you noticed last month or so, Vladdy's been pretty hot. So get involved with that. Once again, go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. Go to manscaped.com, get your 20% off and your free shipping, thanks to us here at Leading Off. That is the promo code for that one. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll start to give away some stuff to someone who checks their email and their spam. We can actually give away something.
Well, I tell you what, tomorrow the contest ends tonight at midnight, so I won't have a winner by tomorrow. But we will email the winner tomorrow, and we can announce our new giveaway tomorrow, the June giveaway. So tune in for that.
June giveaway, very nice. And I imagine too, we got the June giveaway. We got a lot of fun things going on here. When do you run the reading of the reviews again? Because I always like that.
Yes, of course. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we might do it tomorrow.
Sometime this week, maybe. So get out there.
This week I'll do it.
Subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. Drop those fun reviews. If it's fun, we'll probably read it. If it's not fun, we might read it anyway. Go ahead.
One other thing. Home run calls, by the way. So people get in the Discord, fantasypros.com/chat, in the baseball podcast. You get to make your own home run call today, like Joe and I usually do. And again, it's really, we just have fun. We just talk. We make fun of Joe.
Are we doing one today? Because we didn't do the, we make fun.
I have one. You go ahead. If you want, you can nail it. You can put it in the Discord, Joe. I can tell you who my backup was. You might want to go there because it was. I'm going with Freddie Freeman against Joe Ross tonight on the main slate. I like it. I was thinking about that Twins game, Joe. There's a lot of good stuff in that Twins game against Lopez. So my backup was Nelly Cruz, just so you know. But I'm going with Freeman, Freddie Freeman. And again, Mike Mayer, kudos to our, Mayer and Tuma, basically our assistant producers over here. They're keeping track. You want in at the end of the season, whoever makes the most, and you can do it on the weekend, by the way, Joe. I hope that's okay. I made that they get to do it on the weekend. We don't, because we have a little bit of a head start on them. You guys just get in there, just make your home run call. We keep track of it at the end of the year. We're going to give you free stuff to whoever wins. Maybe a couple of winners. Who knows? Anyway, Freddie Freeman is my call for tonight against Joe Ross.
If Trevor, and again, this is always tough because day games, so that's why we didn't do this stuff today.
Right.
And if Trevor Larnach's in the lineup today for the Twinkies, give me Trevor Larnach. Big fan of the Larnach.
He does hit long home runs.
He does.
He's gonna be. I mean, there's nobody left in that. Kepler's
Everyone
on the
always
IL.
loved Kirilloff. I was always the Larnach guy standing by myself.
All right, that's fair. But that's good. Yeah, I mean, with Kepler out, he's gonna be in. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. So that'll do it for us. We went long today, but it's a holiday, so I hope you enjoyed it. We want to thank everybody again for being with us. We're a third of the way through the season. We got 2/3 left to go. We're going to be here for you as long as we can to give you all of the good information. We appreciate all of you making this a show because there's no show without you. And I hope everybody enjoys their Memorial Day, enjoys their time off. Hopefully, if you can get it with your family, that'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Dan Harris, I'm Joe Pisapia. We'll see you next time.